Hey guys, it's October 13th, 2021. I'm Kimberly from Fat Shop FlossTube. I have a ton of stuff to show you today. Super excited to show you all of my Stitch-Tober. There's a brand new release by Country Cottage Needleworks, and I'm going to give you a little peek into the spooky box. So we're going to jump right into Stitch-Tober. Stitch-Tober is an event that I do in collaboration with Lori Holt, where between October and kind of the beginning of November, I stitch fall things from different designers. So what I completed this week is the two barns. So you can either make this as a big piece or small piece. So this is the barn, just the quilty barn. So I got all of this done. And then today what I'm going to do is just outline the red, because that's my project for today. And then you guys voted, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the tractor in here and the farmer / scarecrow here. So I got this one done. So I'm going to put the tractor in this one. And then the silo barn, I did want to talk a little bit about this one. So I struggled with this one a little bit, and I'm going to kind of show it super up close and explain it. So when you're working with DMC, you can see how the stitches aren't exactly even. So basically I was stitching up, I did an outline, and then I did an outline of here because the inside is going to be my block. But I was stitching up and down, and then I was stitching to the side, and then I had this and this stitched to the side, and it looked really bad. So I pulled that out, and it just doesn't look as even. And so really I needed to do the entire thing up and down like this instead of some sideways and some up and down. So you can see how nice this one looks compared to this one. It just does not look even, but I decided I don't want to pull all of those stitches out. So what I'm going to do is just fill this in, and then I am going to do the window here. And here I'm going to do the two windows today. And I'm probably going to just go ahead and use whatever thread is called for in the pattern. I had one time thought, oh, I'll match it to what I put on the inside, but I think I'm not. I think I'm just going to fill the windows in because I think they all of the colors kind of go together. But there are some different options if you want to change your windows. So that is my quilty barn. Thank you to everyone who voted. And I don't know, I mean, if you think I should redo this, let me know. But you definitely can tell that these are sideways and these are up and down. So drives me a little crazy. The next one that I did want to mention is Stitchy Stars. I forgot to mention this last week, but in here we talked about all the different patterns that you can insert in here, and this would make a perfect star barn. So in addition to this star, you have all of these stars, and so if you wanted to have different stars in here, you can use this one plus these 7 and then pull another star from Stitch Cards, and then you would have star barns, which would be a great idea since some people actually have stars on their barn. And I did want to let you know that the floss drops, the thread floss drops came in. It came in yesterday, and there's 20 of them. They're all the same. On the front is Lori's logo, and the back is empty, so you can write on it. And she recommends the Identi-Pen. So this is Lori's. And then we decided that the 2-inch split rings worked best in terms of if you want to put all 20 on there. Now, if you did 1 inch, it wouldn't encompass all of these. So 2-inch was the size that we thought was best. Now, I'm not going to use rings, but I know a lot of people are. So we kind of tested to see which ring we thought was best, and this is the one we thought was best. So, and I'm excited about these floss drops. I'm going to buy a bunch of them. And then the next item is Autumn Beauties. It is a hot mess. So let me show you. This is how I leave it in my bag when I am too busy to undo it. So this is our mystery, 5-part mystery PDF that you get an email of each week if you buy it. Now, part 2 is rather big. That's a lot. And so I spent about 4 hours doing this, but I didn't finish. But what I wanted to show you is I outlined the wheelbarrow and I'm filling in. I outlined the crow and I did his eye and like his little wing, and I just have to fill that in. And then I just have to add this bottom part, which won't take long. So I'm hoping that this week I can get all of this done. But you can tell I was busy because I just like must have stopped right in the middle because my needle's just sitting right there. Usually I would have put it up here. But when I am stitching, I do kind of roll it up. And that's why my little... Now normally I wouldn't just throw it in the bag like this, but I obviously was caught up in a moment. The next item I worked on is Pumpkin Picking Day by Stitching with the Housewives. And this one I got pretty far on and I had a lot of fun. I love the variegation in the car. It looks really good. So because I had worked on that barn and had the stitches looking really bad, I was pretty strict about going all the same direction on this one. So I have about half of this done and I allotted 5 days. So that's good because it'll give me some free time to catch up on some of the others. But all I have left is the vines on the left and the right and the words. So I don't know which one I'll do. I'll probably do all the vines since I did start the vines here. And this is part of their Back Up the Truck series that we have a club on. No, we don't have a club on. So, but there are 3 right now. There is Halloween, Fall, and Christmas. And we are going to be doing Jolly Housewives again. And that's going to be super fun. I still haven't planned everything I'm going to do for it. This one has been so fun. This is Foxtastic. It is by, us as a company, Fat Quarter Shop. And I was doing each section by 18. And I kind of wrote on my pattern some drawn lines. I'm going to show you kind of how I did it. And I got to cover up the pattern though. So what I did was I kind of drew lines like section 1, section 2, section 3, and then the same thing on the next page. But I did go ahead and do 1 row extra, and the reason why is this is pretty skinny, but then when you get here, you're going to be doing a lot. So one thing I thought about doing this week is do 1 row and then maybe just the outside edge, and then that way it just leaves me fill in. But this one's been a lot of fun. This one's fun to do when you're watching TV because it's so monotonous and, it doesn't change much. So you just know, okay, 1 to 9 or 1 to 8. That's all you have to remember. So it's fun to watch this one when you have a good TV show. The next one I started this week is Autumn Spice. This was from our Stitch Quarterly. And so this is a Fat Quarter Shop It's So Emma pattern. And this one will be available to everyone in about a month or so. Right now it's only exclusive to our Stitch Quarterly members, and so if you are not in our Stitch Quarterly club, you might want to check that out. I'm stitching this with the called for colors, and I'm using the pale gray gingham. And the only thing I will say is right here, I feel like there's a lot of white showing for some reason. I don't know. I feel like maybe out here my coverage is better than in the center. And I wasn't really sure why, but I think it'll be fine once Priscilla finishes it for me. I don't think anybody will notice that. I think I just kind of see it because there's so much stuff. And then the last thing I worked on was September calendar crates. And at the same time, I have also been working on November calendar crates because I want to get ahead on some stuff that I'm doing in November. So on November, which I'll show you a different week, I did the whole bottom. So I decided when I did September, I should just go up so that I'm not so bored. And it's always fun to go up. I will say I got a little nervous when I was up here because I thought, well, what if I'm off here and here? But hopefully I'm not, and I'm going to fill this in as part 2. So let me know if you have any questions on any of the Stitch-Tober, and I'm happy to answer them. Vicky is asking, how much of a border did I put on Autumn Beauties around the fabric? 4 inches. So I did 2 inches on each side, so 4 inches. Crafting a Plan Live. Can you demo putting DMC or other flosses on the egg floss drop? Yes, I can. I can add that to next week. I did something very similar to that in a previous live stream, but I can definitely do that next week. And I can do like a couple of different brands just so you can see, like, because they're all different. You know, some is pre-cuts, like Weeks is not. So I might show like a Weeks, a Classic, a DMC, but I can definitely show that. So now I'm going to show you Spooky Box. So if you pre-ordered this and you don't want a sneaky peeky, then just hide your eyes. But a lot of people have already done videos, and in those reveal videos, they've already revealed everything that's in it. So we thought, well, everybody's revealing it. Let me just give you a little sneaky peeky. So Spooky Box is something that we've been doing for years and years and years, and we do it every year, and it is really for the quilting world. So it is something that we came up with for the quilting world, but this year, this also works for cross stitch. So every notion in the box will work with cross stitch and be useful to cross stitch. And the fabric is a perfect size for finishing because they're fat quarters. Now that's not always the case with Sew Sampler or maybe our Jolly Box or something like that, but this box in particular, the fabric would be useful for any kind of finishing. The only thing not useful for a quilter is the quilt pattern, but you could always gift it to a friend. So my sneaky peek is this awesome thread coffin, and this was so much fun to make, and it will fit all different sizes of floss, including Aurifil. And we are going to be making more of these in different designs, but this Halloween one only comes in the Spooky Box. And so the only way to get this box is to get the Spooky Box. So I just wanted to show you that and point out that the notions this time happen to be things that you definitely can use if you are a cross stitcher. And then another thing that we have that's brand new is going to be the Nutcracker Village Cross Stitch Club. And this came out yesterday. So in the afternoon, Nikki from Country Cottage Needleworks released a brand new program. So I'm going to pop up the image in case you haven't seen it on Instagram. And this is the photo she posted. And you're going to notice that the colors are similar to Glitter Village that she did a couple of years ago. So I'm going to talk a lot about the club that we're doing, the fabric, the floss, and of course this will be something that I will be participating in because I love it. So let's talk through our club. What we decided to do in our club is do pattern and floss only. Now the series consists of 11 different designs that are going to be released consecutively for 11 months. So the first one is in a month or two. And so the way we run the club is it's not a set day, but whenever Nikki gets those patterns to us, the same day we'll run the club and ship the patterns the very next day. Now it's going to be similar to Snow Village, where in the center, there's a bigger design in the center. So where the Nutcracker Village, that one is bigger. And that one is like 71 by 118, but then all the squares around it are 59 by 71. So you can see there's 11 things there. And so you can stitch them either individually or as one. So I want to show you a little bit about our club. These are all the colors that are called for. So she has Snowball, Little Sprout, Rain Shower, Blushing Beauty, Wagon Wheel, Sugar Plum, Hazelnut, Grasshopper, Finley Gold, Cherry Tomato, and then a couple of DMCs. Now, what she has done is she has listed for all the shops exactly how many skeins you need of all of this if you are stitching this on 16 count. So that is the package that you will get in month 1. Basically, month 1 is more expensive. The remaining months are just the retail of the pattern plus first class postage. So you will get more of the snowball, and we just basically price it at the cost of the skeins with a tiny discount. But what you're going to get is 16 count floss, meaning if you stitch on 14 count, you might run out of 1 or 2 of the flosses, which that happens, and you just buy another one. I mean, she doesn't give the math for us if it's 14 count. And I want to talk a little bit about the different fabrics. And of course, I will keep talking about this. This fabric is called Belfast linen. It's 32 count, and it is the same fabric that was used in Glitter Village. Right now, we sell a piece that's 20 by 26. It is glittery, and this linen only comes exactly like this. It doesn't come in Aida, and it doesn't come in any different count of linen. It's only this. So this is your only option if you want to do it in the same fabric. There's not a 14 count or anything else. Now, I don't think I can stitch on this. I am going to take a little piece and try it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to stitch on that. So we were thinking that Beautiful Beige would be similar. And so if you, I think that looks really good. So that's probably what I'm going to use if I don't use this, which is probably a no. So I'm probably going to use Beautiful Beige. Now, if you're going to stitch it as one big piece and 16 count, you need a piece of fabric that's 21 by 20. This is 20 by 26. So if you use a tiny border, you can use this piece. But what we are doing is we are buying bolts of this, and we're going to sell a half-yard piece that will be enough, and it will be here when they get it. It's made in Germany, actually, and so it just takes a while to get here. Now, if you're going to do the pieces individually, you just buy 2 of these packages and you have plenty. If you're doing 16 count, oh, actually, I told you wrong. If you're doing 16 count, it's going to finish at like 14.75 by 13.5. So if you do a 6-inch border, meaning 3 all the way around, you need 19.5 by 20.75. So you're a little bit short. So you could make it work with this if you want to, or you could wait for a bigger piece. Now, if you're going to do it on, and so 16 count and 14 count, we are ordering both Beautiful Beiges to cut a half-yard cut so you have bigger pieces. Because the 14 count Beautiful Beige will not work because it's going to end up being 17 by 15.5. And this is 18 by 25, so it is not enough unless you want to give yourself like a 1-inch border. So what I would do is sign up for our club at Fat Quarter Shop. That's going to give you all the patterns, all the floss, and then I would wait on the fabric. I would wait till we get a bigger piece of this, unless you're going to stitch individually, buy 2 of these. And if you're going to stitch on 16 or 14 count Beautiful Beige, I would either, if you're going to do them individually, just buy 2 of these. If you're going to stitch it as a full piece, go ahead and wait for us to get those in half-yard cuts, because we think that is safer. And of course, as I stitch, I will be showing you my progress. I am going to show you progress, and I'm going to introduce this as part of my 2022 sewing, kind of like I did this year. And then I'm not sure, because I'm doing this, I'm not sure if I'll also do Glitter Village or if I'll hold that to 2023, but I'm actually going to make all those decisions on Friday, this Friday. So I'm going to now answer, I know I'm seeing a ton of questions on Nutcracker Village. So Melissa asked, if I stitch Nutcracker Village individually, could the pieces be sewn together to complete a piece, or would that look weird? I think that would look weird. So I would probably not do that. Because it is a club, can you buy only one section? If you want to buy the patterns individually, of course, we will sell them individually. And as they come in, they will go online after our clubs ship out, and then you can order them individually. And I will be stitching mine as a full piece. So I'm for sure on a full piece because I don't have anywhere to put a bunch of small pieces. But I don't know what cloth I'm going to use, and I might change the green because to me, if you look at this green, it's pretty dark. So I might change the green. And I might change Rain Shower to Really Tealy. So I might make those two changes. Just looking, oh, it's not this green, it's this green that's too dark. So Little Sprout's good, but this Grasshopper's a little dark for me. So I will, but of course I'm probably gonna wait for the first pattern to come out. I'm going to take this Belfast cloth and just try it, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to see it. Can we move the large center to the top row instead? Yes, you can. And if you look on Country Cottage Needleworks website, she talks about how many stitches you need to leave between the row horizontally and between the rows vertically. So you'll just follow that. Georgie says, if the Nutcracker is done as one, how big would we need to get for the material? So a 14 count, you need a 21.5 by 23 inch piece. And the 16 count, you need a 19.5 by 20.75 inch piece. So I would just wait until we have time to, because obviously we find out about the series the same exact time you do. And so what we want to be able to do is have time to get those big cuts in. And of course, the first pattern isn't shipping until November or December. So you have plenty of time, and I'm not starting mine until January anyway. Gwen is asking, do we have new organization items? And if not, can you give us some hints? We do have some new organization items. I could maybe do a top camera hint. So we'll move to the top camera, and I'll move this out for just a second. And I'm going to try to show just the corner of it. Oh, it's actually on the coming soon page. What's it called? Floss N Store. So this is, it's pretty heavy, and it's acrylic, and it fits. We made sure it fit our fill perfectly, but I'm going to show you how we have, and we kind of meant this for another video, but since you asked, we'll show. So it will also, these will also fit Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works. We spent hours trying to figure out the size of this hole, and the number of prototypes we had was quite a lot. And they will stack on top of each other. And they have, I don't know, these like little glue dot things. I don't know what you call them, but that means when you put it on top of here, it's not going to scratch or anything. So they can stack. So this is how Weeks Dye Works looks in it. This would also work great for makeup, earrings, jewelry, and this is Classic Colorworks. And so you can see you can fit the items. You can put these sideways or up and down, and you can stack and stack and stack. I hope they don't fall. And then here, another thing you can do is leave your floss flowers fit, your floss biddies fit, your egg drops fit, your DMC stickers. These are the DMC stickers that I use fit. And yes, these are all mine because I've bought a bunch of them because I keep running out of certain numbers. And so you can see this. We spent a lot of time on it, and this is the 2-inch ring, and it fits perfect. So I know you guys are gonna love this. It isn't here yet. It should have been, oops, but because of the delay with ships, it is on the water. So we're just waiting for this to arrive. And again, it's called Floss N Store. And on the top is our logo. It's pretty small. We didn't want to make it too obnoxious. But we wanted it, you know, we want people to know where to find it. So that's super exciting. So thanks for asking about that. What is the piece on the shelf behind you above Autumn Spice called? That is called Let's Talk Autumn by Hands On Design. And I stitched that and I love it. Oh, I can't wait to take it home. Will we get placement the first month for the large block if we're doing it all as one? Actually, the placement is actually already online, and it's on Country Cottage Needleworks website, so you can check that out. And of course, you could always, move stuff around. How big would it be if we want to stitch it in 25 count? So we're gonna look real quick. And how many fit in each container? So we're going to go over all that later. Like usually you can fit about 16 colors in each square, but it depends on like which manufacturer, but you can fit 16 in there. So if you are stitching on, is that finished? Stitched finished on 25 count would be 17.5 by 19. So you would need to add either 4 inches or 6 inches to that. And if you want to use one of Lori's fabrics for that, the Prim fabric is cut bigger. And so I would definitely recommend that Prim fabric, and the color would look good. Do 2 floss bitties fit side by side in the storage? Okay, so no. Well, they do. Actually, we'll do top camera so you can see. It's pretty tight, but they do. And we're going to talk more about this we just somebody asked, so we thought we would. So yeah, they do fit. Now with thread, I don't think they're going to fit. If you wanted a lighter color than Beautiful Beige, what would I suggest? So lamb's wool would be pretty, but I do think that the white fabric or the white thread would not pop very much. So I would be kind of careful to not go too light. Will Nutcracker patterns be PDF or hard copies? They will only be hard copies because that is how Country Cottage offers her patterns. And then any questions we get on the container, we're going to answer those like when we do a video or a live stream when this is in stock. I don't want to get too carried away on that. Can I talk about the different sizes of cloth and why I prefer 14 count? Yeah, I can. Do we have a 14 and a 16 count in here? Because I can compare the two and talk about why I like 14 count. Now, I will say you don't have to do what I do. 14 count, you don't have to do 14 count just because I do 14 count, because my stuff is pretty, but it's not like Cheryl's, and you're going to see some of Cheryl's work in a little bit, and it's very beautiful and it looks great. So do not do this just because of me. So I think we have some 16 count in the finished product. Oh, this is 16, sorry. Sorry, we're just pulling some fabrics. Okay, so this is 16 count Beautiful Beige. I'm looking for the key. Oh wait, here it is. Okay. I'm gonna open this. So this color is Speed Sack. So on here, there are 14 squares per inch, and I can tell because the lines on the little cross stitch key line up. So you can see I have it right on the line. There's 14 squares to an inch. Now if you go to 16 count, there's 16 squares to an inch. So you can see even the difference between here and here. Your stitches are going to be smaller on 16 count and bigger on 14 count. And the reason I like 14 count is because I feel like my stitches lie nice and flat. I feel like on 16 count, my stitches are very fluffy. And that's okay. I don't think y'all should do 14 count just because I do, because I'm probably the only person in the world that just loves 14 count as much as I do. Cheryl does beautiful work on different counts. Priscilla and Chelsea do 28 count, which is the same thing. So they do a similar count than I do. And then Lori uses a lot of really small counts. If I want to do the Nutcracker Village on 14 count, will I need to buy extra floss? Yes, but I don't know the amount because she doesn't tell us that. But I would definitely think the white you would probably need extra of, and maybe the brown and the green. So whatever skews or whatever skeins, I personally would just start with what you get and then replace as you need. I wouldn't buy extra to start with. That's just me. Is there a stitch pattern for the box top? Box top. No, there might be one day. Do floss flowers have a hole punched in the top of them so you can put them on a ring? No, they only have one hole. You could put them on a ring though and keep all your fabric wound around it. Will the Christmas box be available to order? Yes. So just like the spooky box, we have a jolly box, and that basically those boxes come out the second the fabric or basically in each box there's a certain number of items. There's always something that comes really early, something that comes really late, and then something that comes in between. So when that very last item shows up is when we release it. There's not like a set day. I wish there could be, but with everything going on and delivery delays, there really can't be. Kathy asked if I know of a glitter spray that I could use to give it the glitter. Yes, and we can show it. We've done it once before. We can show it. I personally, I don't know if I would use it. And we do also do a Valentine's Day box. Now, just to be clear, not all of our boxes are cross stitch friendly. Some of them are super quilty friendly. This one just happened to be cross stitch friendly. So just be careful if you're buying it. It is a quilting project based. This one just happened to be very much cross stitch. What was fabric on the October stitching with the housewives? Chalkboard black. Val said, good morning. What is the November stitching month going to be called? I love all things. It gets me started. Okay, so Stitch-Tober is October and then part of November. And then starting in the middle of November going to December, we have Jolly Housewives. We have some super chats. So I want to thank Seams Stitchy FlossTube. She says, good morning from Georgia. Kimberly, I pray you're recovering well. I'm doing much better. I'm still not 100%, but much better today. Much better. Hopefully soon I will look normal. And then also a big thank you to Denise from Goose. She says, love FQS from me and Miss Gracie. And Miss Gracie is her cat. So thank you to her. Now I'm going to move on and show you some of the whips that I've been working on in addition to Stitch-Tober. So I'm working on So Happy, which is a Lori Holt pattern, and I did not finish my week. My week I was supposed to have the P, and then the Y. No, I already have the P. The P, the Y, and the exclamation point. So I'll get caught up this week. But I did think this was a great thing to show you because what I do is I first outline the letter and then I fill in everything except the holes, and I fill those holes in last. So that's kind of my methodology for the letters. And then my goal for this week is to finish, I'm going to go ahead and finish all the way to right here. And I'm going to go ahead and finish the border. And then the last week I'll do the sewing machines. So that is one of my items. And then my next item is Granita, which is an It's So Emma pattern, and we do have a thread pack for the blue. I am using pink, and I have really loved working with NPI thread. It has been kind of crazy how much I love it. But what I did on this one, even though with So Happy I didn't get as much done, I kind of got a little over anxious here and did way more. So right here was my week, but I went ahead and did this. And I think what I'm going to do this week, instead of necessarily doing this one and this one, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do this week is get all of these outside dark pinks and light pinks done, and then the next week kind of fill in. My favorite part is actually these two units for some reason. I think it's because they're exactly the same, and like when I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this has a circle, this has a circle. Like I can check my work next to each other, if that makes any sense. So that is that. And now I am going to do framed finishes, which I have a ton. Oh my gosh, I have a ton of framed finishes to show you. So some of these I know you have seen before. The first ones that I'm going to show you are by Country Cottage Needleworks. I'm going to try to make them all fit on the table. So this is the June sampler of the month, stitched on 16 count beautiful beige. And I have them in the Lori Holt design, the Lori Holt library cards. So I'm going to put these on later today. And this is going to be really cool at the end of the year for you to see all 12 of them. This is July. And the frames, I'm hoping to have more soon. And then August. And I'm also working on September and October as part of Stitch-Tober. So those should be done this month. So this is August. And so by the end of the year, she will have all 12. So each year she has a series. So last year was her sampler series, which is this. And then next year is Nutcracker Village. So, and then, you know, she did Cottages of the Month that you could also do. And at the end of the year, if you weren't in the club and maybe you, you know, are new and really like it, we'll sell a set of all 12. But yeah, I'm super excited. And these are the frames that are by Family Tree Frame Company, and we are hoping to get more in stock. But they look so good next to each other. I'm so happy with them. And I love the colors. I didn't change colors on any of these. The next one to show you is Snowballs for Sale. And this one is by Lori Holt. And we did this as part of Jolly July. And so I stitched this on 14 count amber. And the reason I did amber instead of beautiful beige is it is a tiny bit browner. And I really wanted this white to show up. And I did get it professionally framed. And I copied Lori because Lori used a blue frame. And I wanted to kind of do something similar. So it's not the same blue frame, but it's the same concept. And then I used called for DMC threads. And we do have a video on this channel, Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube, on how I attach these buttons. And I do have glass on it too. That's another thing. I do have glass. I prefer to have glass because when I store, I have a ton of stuff and I don't want it to get messed up. The next cross stitch is from the Kaleidoscope Cross Stitch book by Lori Holt. And I think the framer left a little bit too much room. So I don't love the framing. I like the frame, but I feel like there's way too much white out here. So I might actually have them redo it because I am a little crazy. They do have spacers in here for some reason. I'm not sure. So they did do spacers. Sometimes they do spacers and sometimes they don't. But yeah, I think that, I feel like it, so I guess you guys could comment and let me know what you think when the video's done so I can go back and look later. But I think, I like the color, but I do think they left too much of a space. And then, oh, this is my second to last one. This is Peppermint Lane. It's an It's So Emma paper pattern. It will also be available as PDF later. And this one is right here. So this one, I used a red frame. And they also left too much room. Let me look at my little, let me look. Nope, they left 3/4 of an inch, which is what I asked. Okay, so they did it right, but I think I should have told them 1/2 inch. But I've used this red frame several times and on several of my pieces. So the only thing that I was concerned about with this frame is that I got to make sure that my other Christmas that is in this frame doesn't go right next to it. So I love this one. And let's see, It's So Emma, I use 14 count white opalescent, and I use the called for DMC, except I changed the white to be 5200 because I wanted it to pop out a little bit more on the opalescent, because I did use a different fabric than called for. And I keep everything on these cards so that in 5 years I will know exactly what I did. Now for the grand finale. This is CHERYL'S, and I have a funny story. My funny story is, well, first let's see if it'll even fit on this table. So I got this done, and I know exactly, I mean, you know, I've been married to Kevin a long, long time, so I know exactly the stuff he likes, the stuff he doesn't, and I knew he was going to love this. So when he got home, I was like, oh my gosh, look, I got it framed, look how good it looks. And he was like, I haven't even seen you stitching this. Where did this come from? And I was like, I was stitching this for 2 years. Where have you been? He's like, I've never seen that in my life. I was so mad. I was like, get out of here. Like, you don't even know what's going on. I was so pissed off because he didn't know. He didn't even know I made this. I was like so insulted. But let's see. This one I stitched on 28 count Lugana light ash. It's an even weave. And I used the called for DMC and Classic Colorworks, and I did not change any colors. I did leave a couple of the, on the skates, I know a couple of you commented in the live stream about missing some stitches there, but I could not get my French knots to look good and my strings to look good, so I kind of gave up. So there's a couple of things I left off, just intentionally, I guess would be the way to say it. And this one is by Little House Needleworks. I love this frame. There's another, I'm actually going to frame Farmhouse Christmas in this, unless I can find a very rustic wood. I'm hoping to go to the framer Saturday. So I'm hoping, well, first I have to see if they're open, because sometimes they're closed on Saturdays. So if they're open Saturdays, I will be there. The next thing that we have for framed finishes is not by me, it's by Cheryl. So this is what I mean about don't always just do what I say, because look how much better her stuff looks. She got her stuff, now I got my stuff framed at a local framer. All of the framed finishes by Cheryl that I'm about to show you were framed at Hobby Lobby. This is Quaker Pumpkin by Hello from Liz Matthews. And she stitched on 32 count vintage white linen from her stash. She used called for flosses. And so if you want to make this, we do have the pattern Quaker Pumpkin. So this would be the equivalent of 16 count. And you can see if I put this next to one of my 14 counts, the difference in the stitches. So you can see how small her stitches are. And I know these look totally different, but if you look here and you zoom in a little bit, you can see, you can really tell there is a difference. And most people who have cross-stitched for a long time, like Cheryl, you could show her a piece and within half a second she will know if it's 16 count, 14 count, if it's Aida, if it's linen, if it's even weave. So, but look at the detail in hers. And it's all variegated floss. And Cheryl does happen, she's very similar to Kevin. She loves Halloween. So she brought that today. And then, and I had shown that as she was stitching it, she also finished Hocus Pocus by the Prairie Schooler. Oh my gosh, this one, Kevin would love this. Oh my gosh, he would go crazy. but I would never stitch this. I would never be that nice. His birthday is Saturday though, so I do need to get my little, I need to get, I usually have everything planned out. I have nothing planned, and I've got to get myself together before Saturday. So this is Hocus Pocus by Prairie Schooler. This is stitched on 32 count ivory Belfast linen, called for DMC, and framed at Hobby Lobby. All of the Prairie Schooler patterns are charted with DMC, just so you know. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. And look, okay, can we zoom into right here? Look at, okay, for real, look at this detail of this, long stitches, back stitches. I mean, really, that is like so amazing. I don't think I could do that. So I really love to show Cheryl stuff so that you guys can see that my stuff is just very basic. Her stuff takes it to the next level. Okay, and then her next one is also a Prairie Schooler. It is the November chart. Now, I want to be clear on the monthly charts. At one point, they had January to December. And now they have basically discontinued some, and so they come in and out of print. So like one year I might have March in stock, another year I might not. So they kind of, these come in and out of printing is what I guess I want to say. And again, these were all framed at Hobby Lobby and used, called for DMC. This one is stitched on 32 count linen, and it's from her stash. And what you do when you take it to the framer is you tell, now the last two had glass, but this one does not. Let me see the last one. Yeah, the last two have glass, but this one she did not put glass. So I'm sure that is the look she was going for. Now what you can do is when you're at the framer, and this is what I do, is I usually tell my framers 3/4 of an inch showing, and this one's 1 inch showing. So just make sure when you go to your framer, you think about how much showing from the edge of the design to your frame that you want, and you get a different look with that. So now I'm going to answer any questions on my finishes or Cheryl's finishes, and I still have a lot more too. Does Cheryl use a frame to stitch in hand? No. Cheryl stitches over 2. That's also a question that I see that we can take off. But when she stitches with 16 count, with 32 count, which is the equivalent of 16 count, she stitches over 2. She uses 2 strands, and she uses a spring tension hoop. And she just moves the hoop as she goes, and she stitches, she does not do the sew-in method where you go under. She sticks and stabs and sticks and stabs, and that is why her stuff looks perfect. Oh my god, I need that pumpkin and Hocus Pocus. Can they be 14 count? Yes, and that's what I do, is I just take the stitch count, figure out what I need it to be for 14 count, and stitch on 14 count. Gwen says she wants to be Cheryl when I grow up. Yeah, we probably all do. What is even weave? Even weave means that your threads in your cloth are even from, so I can show you one that's not. I think the ones she stitched today were all linen. Yeah, they were all linen. So I can show you linen, and I can show you even weave with my Kringles. So this one is linen. Ooh, our frames are similar. Look at us. Very fancy. So we'll zoom in. It might be hard to see. These are both 16 count. Sorry, 28 count and 32 count. So this is 32 count. This is 28 count. But basically the threads that make up the cross stitch fabric that go down this gray this way and this way are even. And over here, they're not even. And that's what gives linen the look of vintage. So to me, it's harder to stitch on linen than it is an even weave. But to be honest, even stitching this even weave Kringles, I struggled with. So there's no way I can do the Nutcracker Village on the Belfast linen, even though I really want to. With 16 count, do I use 1 or 2 strands? You use 2 strands. On 32 count, you go over 2, correct, and that makes it 16 count. I love Quaker Pumpkin. Is it beginner friendly? I would say, let's look at it up close, but I think it would be more intermediate, and I'll show you why. I'm just trying to be very careful with our pieces. The only reason I say this is more intermediate than beginner is it's very big and you have a lot of counting to do between stitches. So you have to like really count to know where you're going. So it's not a lot of close stitching, and it's also very big. Now you can also see this is linen, and you can see it is not even, and you can see they're called slubs. I think they're called slubs, but they're little pieces of, it's like it gives the vintage look to it. So your linen is not going to be like 100% perfectly clean. It's going to have little nicks and knacks in it. Imperfections. And the imperfections is what people love about linen, actually. What is a spring tension hoop? I don't have one in here. If you go to factquartershop.com and just search spring tension hoop, you will see it. How long did it take me to stitch Kringles? Oh, I started in 2019 and finished this year. So 2 years, and I don't know how many hours, but it was quite a lot. I actually do know the number of hours. I just don't remember off the top of my head. Oh, thank you, Lori. Lori says it looks cute. Do I have a tutorial on how to space your lettering on your Jollies finish? No. On that, one of my employees is a graphic designer, so she did it for me. So she did it with InDesign software. So I just, and I can't do that for anybody else, but that's just something that, you know, she did. You could do it with graph paper too. What is my choice of floss? NPI is my favorite in terms of what I use in my hand to stitch because it doesn't knot. My favorite look, probably Classic Colorworks or DMC. What cloth in 14 count do I suggest for Quilty Barn? Vintage Country Mocha. And you need a very big piece. So we think it's online. We're looking because we had to buy a special piece for it. The 21 by 36 inch piece. There's a 21 by 36 inch Vintage Country Mocha 14 count Aida that would work great for the Quilty Barn, and we actually bought that and custom cut it especially for everybody. How do I store your projects when not in use? I use storage bags. So I use Mad for Plaid bags. I use bags by Denise from Goose. I also use bags that are made, Lori gets them made for me, by Christy with Crosshatch Quilts. So I use bags for each of my projects. Is my pink Granita on cloud fabric? No, it is on 14 count opalescent by Zweigart. Will I be doing a box for stitch, strictly cross stitch? We're not going to do themed ones. We are doing the Stitch Quarterly though. And maybe if the Stitch Quarterly gets bigger or we sell more in cross stitch, maybe one day, but it's not on the horizon yet. Oh, I'm so happy I just ordered my first wholesale order from the Netherlands. Yay! Will Nutcracker Village be sold as a pattern only club like Glitter Village was? At the very end it will be, but for now we're just going to sell it as a club with fabric. At the end it will be pattern only. Where did I get the library cards? Do they come with the pattern? So we sell the library cards in a pack of 12, and they are designed by Lori Holt, and I can show it to you real quick up close, and I can talk to you about how I put it on my pieces. Now, this is something that she finishes some of my items for me, Lori does, and she did one with a vintage library card, and I said, oh, we have to make this an ocean. So I believe it's 12 in a pack. But you get these little envelopes, and she made sure that this, we were very particular about this exact color so that it would be very vintage. And it comes with the cards, and it slips in there. And then I use the double-sided It's So Emma stitchery tape or the sticky dots, and then I put this on the back. And then what you can do is you can put washi tape. If you want to make sure it doesn't come out, you can put washi tape up here, or you can put the sticky dots. The only thing with the sticky dots is it's hard to get them to come out, which I didn't realize when I used them the first time, so Lori said that washi tape would be better. Now I'm going to show you my previous finish feature, which was from 2020. So every Stitch-Tober, we come out with a fat quarter. We always come out with the Lori Holt pattern that's going to go with Stitch-Tober. We also come out with a PDF series for Stitch-Tober. So I just showed you Autumn Beauties for this year. Last year's was Halloween based, and it was called Fright Night. So I'm going to show that to you right now. So you can still buy the pattern. It's a PDF pattern only. We still have all of the supplies that I'm going to show you. Priscilla Blaine from Stitching with the Housewives finished this for me. And we have Floss Biddies. We have a couple of weeks Dyeworks thread packs. They're almost sold out until we get, we're waiting on one of the colors. And we also have a DMC thread pack. And we have our cool bags. So like I said, we store them in bags. This is the bag that I stored this in when I stitched in. Now, it took me 27 hours to finish this, and I stitched it on Hazy Gray Dyed Effect by Fabric Flair, which is that same fabric that I showed yesterday in yesterday's Stitchy Talk. So if you missed yesterday's Stitchy Talk, you can go check that out and you'll see what I'm talking about. And the reason we wanted to show you this is we wanted to tell you that for Stitch-Tober, we're going to alternate. So last year was Halloween, this year is fall. Next year, our design will be more Halloween. The year after, it will be more fall, so that we can please everybody and that there is a look for everybody. So this was my piece from last year. I have it hanging at home, so I need to take it home to display it. Our flash sale today, we always make sure that we have a flash sale that's cross-stitch on Wednesdays. The pattern is Believe in Christmas by Pine Mountain Designs, and I actually stitched this up, and there is a kit. Now the kit's not on flash sale, but the pattern is. And now I'm going to show you lots of brand new things, and there's going to be a little bit more than normal just because I haven't shown them in the last couple of weeks. So the first ones are from Priscilla and Chelsea from Stitching with the Housewives. Thankful is a Dapper Doodad that was released on Friday. All Jarred Up was the week before. And Candy Cane Lane is today. So these are all PDFs that are available. So the All Jarred Up is also available as paper. So actually I think it's only available as paper right now. This is a bigger pattern than these. So these are more like their tiered tray tidbits, and their Dapper Doodads are smaller. All Jarred Up finishes at 6 by 8. And we will borrow some of these samples and show you when we kick off Jolly Housewives. Cottage Garden Sampling released Storytime with Santa, And so I didn't, it's like a big Santa in there. He kind of gets lost. But it's huge. It finishes, it's 147 by 146 stitches. So it's pretty intense, but it's so pretty. And then from Flamingo Toes, we have lots of patterns, and we also have some needle minders. So we have Christmas Adventure and Land That I Love patterns. And her needle minders are actually the best-selling needle minders that we carry. We place several orders a week with her. So these are her 3 new ones. She has lots of the little shops. So Wool Shop, Antiques, and then Pumpkin. And they're metal, so they keep kind of moving. But I'd love to support Bev. She's awesome. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to be careful that they don't... I don't want them to stick together. Now, Primrose Cottage stitches are really cute. It's a brand, I don't want to say brand new designer, but kind of newer to my radar. And these are 2 of her newer ones. And I really like her designs. She has a lot of cute finishing too. So this is Deck the Halls and Halloween Kisses. And these are little pom-poms. So she made a little pillow and little pom-poms. So very cute. October Typography by Pine Mountain Designs is now available both as a paper and a PDF. And we do sell this clipboard. The clipboard is by Buttermilk Basin, and Riley Blake Designs made it. I guess I distributed it for her. So you can actually not only buy the pattern from us, you can also buy the clipboard, and you can see the little clipboard up here. Tiny Modernist, I love all of her little samplers because her samplers are not so much traditional samplers. They're more just fun, and so I really like this one. It'd be really cute stitched up. Cheryl asked us to carry several of the Cricut collection patterns, so I just picked the one that I liked the best. And this one is Acorn Autumn. And then I missed this one. Sorry about that. This is Here Comes Santa Claus. So if you pre-ordered this, we shipped it out to you. And this is just like earlier, I showed you the back up the truck that I was making for Stitch-Tober. What was that, fall? Pumpkin picking day. So this is the Here Comes Santa Claus. So you could just have trucks all against your wall. And then we got so many requests and emails for this, and this is the 2022 Needlework Enthusiast Book of Days, and this is super popular with a lot of floss tubers. So I'm going to flip through the pages so you can see, and a lot of people use it to keep track of just their cross stitch progress through the year, and I'm going to show you the inside so you can see all the detail that's put into it. There's a lot of quotes. There are a lot of biblical quotes and then quotes from authors. I'm going to flip through all so you can see. And then you can actually, if you were interested in how people use this, you could just put on YouTube Needlework Book of Days, how to use, and you're going to see a lot of things pop up. And I've seen a lot of ways that people have used these, the left and the inside. And then I don't want to show the whole thing because I don't want to give it away, but well, let me show December 1st. At the back, she has 2 vintage charts, and she gives reference where they're from, but they're actually actual vintage charts. One is an alphabet and one is a set of leaves. And we got a couple new colors from Fiber on a Whim, which these are all hand dyed. The color is Dulce de Leche. I don't know how you say that. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. Dulce de Leche. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know how. 14 count, 28 count, 32 count, 36 count, and then 40 count. So these are linen. Ooh, that one is crazy on the screen. Look at it. Okay, the camera's freaking out. Okay, it looks better there. Okay, so this is Ada. These are linen. 14, 16, no, 14, 28, 32, and 40. And this is more of a brown, but it does have a green to it. And I think it's great to see them all together so that you can see how the Ada is lighter because it just absorbed when in the dyeing process, it absorbed less of the dye than the others. And I want to announce that we have hit 30,000 subscribers on our Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube channel. So hip hip hooray, I'm so excited. So we're going to give away 3 $50 gift cards to Fat Quarter Shop. So what I want you to do is right when we end the video, comment what you want to see from our FlossTube in 2022. So anything you have been wanting to see, post it now when we close out the video and we will announce the winners later. So have a great day. Bye.